Hello viewers, DJ Goodman here. One of the secrets of being productive is to be a reader. If you read a lot of books, your level of productivity soars. You develop capacity to be useful to yourself and to other people at large. Today, I want to show you how you can write a book in 5 simple steps. One of the many advantages of writing a book is that you become an authority. And the reason why you want to write a book is the same reason why so many other people have written their own books. They want to share their knowledge. Because if you're someone that reads a lot, you do not want knowledge to end with you. You know something so much and you want to help other people to get out of a particular problem. So, one of the ways you offer them solution is to put it in a book. But a lot of people think that writing a book is a daunting task that you cannot venture into. As an author of more than 200 books, I beg to disagree. Even though you have to work hard to write your books, but it's a doable task. It's something you can accomplish. Now, I want to show you how to be productive as an author. If you become productive as an author, you can get your knowledge out there. Apart from making money, you become an authority. If people are looking for someone to solve problems for them, your name comes to their mind because they know you are an authority in that particular field. Let me tell you something. Anything that has to do with writing, whether you're writing a book or a blog, or you are creating YouTube videos to educate people, you are an authority. But one of the best ways to become an authority is to write a book. I just want to show you a proof of the fact that I've been doing this same thing that I want to show you, so that you can trust me as someone that can train you on this journey. These are some of my books. You can see Secrets of Getting Things Done. I wrote this book many years ago. If I want to check the year that I wrote it, this book was published 2010. This is 2014. This is 14 years ago that I wrote this book. This is how you can be preferred above others. This was written as a pamphlet before, and then I kept adding to it till it became a small book, then a medium-sized book, till it became this big book. And I published this book in 2003 to 2024, 21 years ago. This is one of my best-selling books, Women Are Powerful Creatures. I bet you want to have a link to where you can get all these books. I'll put it in the description of this video. Women Are Powerful Creatures was also written as a pamphlet before. Then I kept developing it till it became a small book, then a big book. I wrote this book and published it in 1999. This is one of my regularized publications. I call it Victory Capsules, and the title of this is Habits That Make People Great. This book was published 2009. This is 2014. You can do the math. Even my wife is an author. See one of her books, Increase Your Capacity. Even though she's an associate professor of medicine, she's an author. You can write your own book too, because once you put your thought on paper and it becomes a book, you become an authority. Thankfully, we live in the internet era. You do not even have to write books that you have to print out physically. You can write books and put it on Amazon or other platforms where they sell books. Whichever way you're going to go about it, I'm going to show you how to be productive as an author. When you become an author, if you're looking for someone to hire for any project, they see that you've written a book on it, you'll be number one. So if you've passed the realm of being a bookworm, that is, you read a lot of books, you'll be so full of knowledge that you want to diffuse the knowledge. You want to share part of the knowledge. And one of the best ways to share your knowledge is to write books. And I want to show you, as an established author and publisher, how you can go about it. Now let me take you to my computer so that we'll start learning right away. How to write a book in 2 days. Of course, yours can be 5 days, it can be 1 week, it can be 10 days. No matter how long it takes you to write a book, you get better at it over time. But I can write a whole book in 2 days. I'm going to be sharing many secrets with you, how writing a book becomes so easy for you. I want us to go into how you can write a book in 2 days in 5 simple steps. The very first step you take in writing a book is to decide what you want to write about. What kind of book do you want to write? Is it a Christian book? Is it a fiction? Is it a baby book? Is it about parenting? Is it about finance? You have to decide what kind of book you want to write. This is where genre comes into play. What genre is it? Is it romance? Is it a fiction? Is it non-fiction? Is it a motivational book? Is it a religious book? There are specific ways you write books in different genres, and you have to master those specific ways so that you can captivate your readers. Also, you should know how voluminous you want your book to be. Especially in African countries, we do not have the reading culture. I used to write big books before, voluminous books. As a matter of fact, most of my books were very voluminous. I had to break them into smaller books. For instance, when I was writing this book, Secrets of Getting Things Done, it was to be a voluminous book, just 1 volume. And I decided that in Nigeria, we don't really read. If you give a big book to people, they wouldn't read anything out of it. They would just drop it. So I decided to break it into smaller books. So I broke this particular book into series. You can see Secret of Getting Things Done, Leave the Realm of Fantasies. This is another book in the same series. Secret of Getting Things Done, Use What You Have. So my plan is to write about 10 different books in the same series. After I've broken them into series, Then I will see how they are doing, and I can decide to package everything together under one volume for people that love to read, perhaps for the Western world. But you have to decide how voluminous you want your book to be. For authors in African countries, I will advise that you break your book to smaller bits because we do not have the reading culture. Later, you can decide to put all those series in the volume to be a single book, and people will buy it. But you have to decide how voluminous you want your book to be. As far as I'm concerned, I've just decided never to write a big book for Nigerian consumers. They will not read it. But if you're writing for the Western world, you can decide to put your thoughts together just under one volume. Now let's go over to step number 2. The second thing you want to do when you want to write a book is to write out the book outline. You must prepare the outline of your book. For instance, you can see the way I wrote out the outline for this particular book. Through the years, I've always been accustomed to setting things out in outline format. For instance, if I'm invited as a guest speaker somewhere, I'll write everything out in an outline format because I want to put my thoughts together. Creating an outline for your speaking engagement puts your thoughts together, and it shows in the way a public speaker speaks. When you speak and your thoughts are not together, I will easily know because I'm a public speaker. If your thoughts are not together, you just talk randomly, and your listeners will never be able to go home with any tangible thing. The same way, people that will read your book will never be able to gain any tangible thing from your book if your thoughts are not together. So you must create an outline. That is the first thing. Never attempt to write a book until you've created an outline. In fact, it is at the outline stage that I always know how my book will look when it is ready. From the outline stage, you can determine how good a book will be. If a book is not going to be interesting, I know when I'm writing out the outline. Then I will tell myself, I need to do something about this book. Because as you're writing the outline, you will know if it's going to be fascinating or not. In writing the outline, the first thing you want to write is the introduction. Write the introduction of your book. Write out the chapters, then write the conclusion. I'm not saying in essence that you should write everything that will be under the introduction or the chapters or the conclusion. What I'm saying is write it out in topics. Just write out the title of the introduction, the chapters, and the conclusion. Later, you will start filling them out. But you must write all those things out. For instance, if your book is going to be 10 chapters, just write out the title of the chapters, then go over it again. There are times when I'm preparing an outline, I will have to sit down there to check it over and over again if it makes sense. So if it is going to be 10 chapters, I already know how voluminous a book will be by the number of chapters it has. The first step you must take in writing a book is you must get all the facts ready that will be in your book. A lot of people make that mistake. They want to start writing before they start thinking about what do I put in this book? How can I make it interesting? Decide that one up front, not when you've started writing. This is what I'm saying. Look for stories to include in your book. As a matter of fact, when I see a good story, I always bookmark it or save it somewhere because I know that it might be relevant for one of the books that I'm writing. So you must have a place where you save stories. In fact, jokes that you come across that you know will be very funny to people, try to save it away because you can include all those things in your book. We live in the internet era, and it's not as difficult today as it was when I started writing. There was nothing like Google where you could quickly search for things. But today, if you're looking for stories, all you have to do is go to Google and type something that you want. You can even tell Google to give you memes and interesting quotes to put in your book. Save all those things in a folder under the book that you want to write. You must prepare many illustrations to put in your book. Don't let your book be boring. I've picked up books before, and all I will see there are just theories. The person is just writing theories. No stories, no jokes, no side journey, no interesting anecdotes that will excite people. In fact, if you are looking for best-selling books, there are books about stories. That's why people like to read romance, because more than 80% of the book are just stories. People are carried away by stories. Their attention can be retained through stories and illustrations. When you're trying to pass an important message across, for people to understand it, just give an example. You can say, for instance, then give the illustration just to drive home a point. Your book will be very exciting. I know so many authors like that people cannot do without. If you check the reason why people cannot do without them, it's because they tell stories. Your book must be full of stories and illustrations. One of the best ways to be a captivating author is to put yourself in your reader's shoes. Maybe you've read some books before and the books are not interesting at all. You don't want to write that kind of book too. So when you're writing your book, avoid the same mistakes that people whose books are not interesting make. Try to make your own book engaging. Try to make it captivating. Gather all those facts before you start writing. You will see you become a very good author if you do so. Step number 4, to write a captivating book in 2 days. You have to keep writing. I'm going to be sharing that secret with you about the methods you can use to write that is convenient for you. When you're writing, it shouldn't be work to you. It should be something you enjoy. But you have to write. Recently, I listened to what one great author said. He said the most difficult aspect of writing is to get your ideas out of your head onto the paper. These days, we'll say onto the computer. Just keep writing onto your computer. Then, as you're writing, avoid this mistake. Don't pause to be correcting mistakes in what you're writing, because you might forget some thoughts that are coming up on your mind. When ideas are flowing, that's the best time to write. So when you keep typing, don't stop and be correcting the mistakes you are making, because the ideas that are flowing will stop. What you do is just keep writing. The same thing that happens to people that speak also happens to people that write. And what is that thing? When you are speaking and you want to make an important point, another point is coming on your mind that you want to say. If you say that one, you might forget the thoughts that are already springing up on your mind, except people are around to remind you of what you are saying. And that's why when we are talking at times, maybe you're talking to someone, you can pause and say, what was I about saying? I was trying to say something. Why? Because thoughts are always bombarding our minds. You must know how to organize those thoughts. If not, you can use one thought to disturb the flow of other important ones. So you just have to know how to organize all these things. The same thing happens when you're writing. As thoughts are flowing and you're trying to type them on your computer, don't pause to be making corrections. You might forget important things that are springing up on your mind. Then when you're putting your thoughts on paper or typing it onto the computer, you want to type it as fast as possible, because thoughts come to your mind at a rapid rate. So if you do not type fast, you will disturb the flow of thoughts. You will not be a creative person when you cannot type fast. So your ability to type fast will cause more of such thoughts to flow. When a wise thought comes to you, there are millions of other wise thoughts from the same source that a wise thought comes from. How will those million thoughts come to your mind? How will they keep flowing if you quickly put them down? In fact, that's why you will hear successful people say that they always have a sheet of paper and a pen around anywhere they are. Maybe they want to sleep, they have a sheet of paper and a pen around them, because ideas can flow anytime and you quickly get up to start writing them down. You have to do the same thing. So type as fast as possible. The first thing you have to do in writing is just get the ideas off your mind onto the paper. So later, you will relax and start looking over it, start making corrections, start breaking them down into bits. But the first thing is to get the thing out of your mind and type as fast as you can. Let's go to step number 5, which is you must save every word you type. I don't know the material you want to use for your typing, perhaps computer or your phone, or you want to write on paper. Whichever method, make sure you keep what you have typed. It's very painful for you to work so hard for days and discover that you can't find your file again. It's painful. You might be so discouraged that you don't want to go back to writing again, or you may not write it as good as you wrote it before. So keep everything that you have written. You wouldn't believe that some of the things I wrote 15, 20 years ago are still intact. I can go back there again today and pick them up. I'm talking about even books I have not written, because I have them saved properly away. So make sure that every word you type is properly saved. Don't assume that it's been saved, especially maybe you borrow the computer on which you're typing. Make sure it's properly saved. I will advise that you do not write on paper, because paperwork can become burdensome. Where do you keep what you're writing? Then if you write on paper, you still have to type it in your computer. So you just have to type your work to save you time. I believe you've got something from this video. Please support me on this channel by liking this video and sharing it with your friends. And if you've not done so, I want you to subscribe to this channel and press the bell notification so that when I release a new video, you'll be notified. Then a bonus tip before you go. I want to share something with you on how you can become a pro author, and that is how to captivate your readers, that they will not drop your book until they finish it. You want to learn that secret? That's what I've shared in the video that is popping up on your screen right now. Click on that video and I'll see you there. Bye for now.